Well, hello everyone. This is Sevilla. I love, and here we are on this channel, getting back to living and loving life again after a major life altering loss, such as being widowed. This channel is for widowed folks and those that are trying to love them, setting you free with new perspectives, new ideas, with a focus on that higher part of ourselves that also matters in this equation as we move forward. So let me get into this today. What we are focusing on. I have a gal that wrote into me and she was asking about her situation with a widower. They were greatly, greatly in love, and we're going to find out what happened. And after I read the letter to you, with her permission, of course, at the end, I'm going to weigh in and give my insight. Now, if you're new to this channel, I am a licensed therapist. Now, this is not a therapy channel. This is my opinion channel only. And if you need some help, please see a professional in your area. That being said, treat this like a Dear Abby, and we're going to get into it. Okay, so let's do this. Now, the viewer wrote in, her screen name is Joy, her pseudonym. She says, I have been friends with my widower for over 15 years and his late wife. We've been attending the same church. Our kids kind of grew up together. We traveled together some places. I was very close family friend. And now, as his late wife and my friend neared the end of her battle with terminal cancer, I was there to walk with them. After she passed, I continued to support him and the family. He has three adult children. We grew really close really fast, and we fell in love. His counselor advised him to tell me so we could put the brakes on it because it was literally just weeks after her death. And we tried, but the love grew and we became a couple. We knew each other so well and we loved each other. It was beautiful. He took such good care of me. He loved me like no other man has ever loved me. He loved me the way I loved him. I have a lot of betrayal trauma. And he always said, I'm so glad I get to be the man that finally shows you what it's like to be cared for and loved in the right way. Whew. The emotional intimacy was beautiful. There were times grief came in and he needed space. It was hard for me because he wouldn't tell me that he needed space. He would just disappear. But he'd always come back stronger and a little more healed. Now, this happened a few times over 14 months. Now, this Christmas, he didn't want to do Christmas. It was too traumatic for him. I told him we didn't have to. But he proceeded to buy me so many gifts. He made 3 trips to the city to get me the bear I wanted that kept selling out. He took me to a concert, second row. Took me places the whole week between Christmas and New Year. Took me shopping for an engagement ring because he wants to propose in 6 months and wanted to see what kind of ring I like. But then New Year's Eve came. We were just going to hang out at home, but he texted and said, I need to do this one alone. Sorry. We'd spent the previous New Year together, and while he was sad, we still had a good time. This year, he checked out and never recovered. We went on a few dates, but he was distant. Friendly, but not affectionate. Hardly any touching, like we were just good friends again. After that amazing week, suddenly he checked out. When I mentioned how it was hurting me, he said he couldn't be in a relationship anymore and he can't give me what I need. He's a broken mess. His job is crazy. His adult kids are messing things up. It's hard to see the future, etc. He doesn't want to keep ending up in this push-pull cycle because it's unhealthy. So he ended it, but didn't say if it was for good or just another break. We're not no contact. We still have to work together at church. But when we're at church and talking about whatever, he'll still gaze into my eyes without words, as if his soul is reaching for mine. That look he always gives when intimacy is intense and he just wants closeness, but he won't. Please help me understand what's happening. I know I can't wait forever for this healing to happen, but I'm devastated and grieving now myself. We were planning a future. Please help me. Appreciate all that you do. Joy. Well, Joy. Ooh, this is a rough one. First of all, I'm sorry for the pain that this must be causing you right now. I can only imagine, what it must feel like to be so deeply and beautifully loved and seen and cherished and held. I mean, like, who doesn't dream of that? Wow. And this is something that people who date a widowed person often get, both men and women. It, it's this juxtaposition to the pain, the desert that they've been in, prior to the loss. It could have been a rough relationship. It could have been a terminal illness. It could have been, a dead bedroom for the last 5, 10 years. It could have been a lot of things that put this person into, aside from just the death, is what I mean. Okay, this is complicated. That put this person into this boomerang effect after the death of their spouse. And, sometimes you get this kind of spark, this intense love with this new person after the loss, that it feels so good. It feels so amazing. It is so intense because it's this oppositional swing to the pain. And who in their seemingly right mind wouldn't run for that? I mean, because losing your partner is one of the most painful things that somebody can go through, because it doesn't just take the person out of your life, it takes your life. It takes who you thought you knew you were. Takes the sense of self, your plans for the future, your earning income, your position in the family, your sense of power and control over life. I mean, this changes everything. And so you come along, you and it is so good that the widowed person imagines that, well, maybe this is, I don't know, if this is what they imagine, but not uncommon. Maybe this is my reward for all the horrible things I just went through. Because we have this belief sometimes that if we're good boys and girls, we're going to get rewarded, right? So I suffered all this time. I went without for so long. I went through so much. And now maybe the universe is giving me something good. And maybe I should just, take it. So they do. But what they're not expecting is that this is just kind of a game of leapfrog that they've just done, from pain and suffering and, oh my God, is it going to be like this forever, to ecstasy, joy, and celebration in this new love. There's a process here that has to happen for every human being. Okay? We have to go, for women, we have to go through the process of birth, and it hurts like hell. It's the most incredible pains you can go through. And now y'all with babies forgot, but we could put you back in that moment, you remember. There's things that require our attention, and they're going to hurt in this life. I mean, listen, my friends, we are all here on this earth to have a fully human experience. And if you think you're getting out without doing the work, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. As the widower in the story that Joy shared realized, because he would come back to her after disappearing, which, by the way, is very rude. Don't do that to your lovers, widowed people. Communicate what you're doing. You have to honor yourself and what you need. If you need to take time, you need to take time, but you need to communicate that. So don't just ghost people. That is so painful and rude and self-centered. And yes, I'm saying that. I get it. If you're new to my channel, I'm a widow too. Okay. I've had an incredible amount of loss by an early age. Lost every relationship type except my child. All of them. So I hear it. I get it. But this is no excuse for rudeness or cruelty. So don't do that. Anyway, but he would come back to you and he would be, a little stronger, a little like he's like, okay, so this is what's happening. There's this wave, right? The wave comes and it knocks the widow's butt over and like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It's always going to be this bad. And then they fall into the hole. And then the wave subsides, it comes back out, and they start thinking, oh, okay, actually, maybe I am going to be okay. Okay, maybe this can be right. Let's give it another try. And they come back in, they give it another try, and it's really, really good. And they're like, okay, I can do this. And then they get hit again with another wave. And the wave isn't just coming from within us. Oftentimes it's coming from the family around it. Family's grieving, there's other issues, life's coming, there's demands, you have to still do paperwork, the estate, the law, the children, the in-laws, the friends, like the house, all the stuff. I mean, it is so much. And that starts to pile up. So the reprieve that you give the widowed person with your love and attention and the great weekend away to Aruba or, the backyard, wherever you're going, is a moment of bliss for them. And they want it to last forever. But the reality is that it's not lasting forever. And so you get caught in the push pull of going back and forth with them. I think most good people don't mean to hurt you. They don't not trying to, you know, screw you over because then they come back, they're kind, they're loving, they're like, they really want to believe that they're going to be okay. But when they get knocked down, they feel like they're not going to be okay. And I can't tell you how many widowed people I've worked with that said, I think it's going to be like this forever. This is a very common experience. I'm just going to be like this forever. I'm just going to have to deal with it. And it's not true. It's not true. But if you start really soon without doing the work, the feeling that I'm going to be like this forever and it's never going to work, because when you go to this big high, you're going to fall off the pedestal, and it hurts more when you fall from a higher branch of the tree. Okay. So now if you're doing the work and you're processing slowly and appropriately, you're going to build up your strength, and every time you fall back down, you're going to be a little stronger to climb back up. So what may be happening around these times with widowed folks is that they're losing hope every time they fall back down. And if they're dragging you down with them, especially, I want to say a good man, because a good man wants to care for a woman. He wants to cherish her. And this guy seems like a caring, cherishing kind of guy. I mean, he just really treated you like the lovely lady that you are. Obviously, very provisional in his instincts towards you. So he had all the good intentions. And I want to say his feelings in those moments were probably very true for him. But what also became true for him, possibly, is that he realized he couldn't stay in that state because there's too many demands of the loss of his wife weighing on the responsibilities of his life. And then he's got to prioritize, because if he's a good man, he's got a sense of duty. And where does my duty lie? And a good man usually is going to put what he thinks, feels, and wants at the bottom of the list until everybody else's needs are taken care of. I mean, I see a lot of guys for coaching and consultation. Okay. I see very few men in my therapy practice, but I see a lot of men in coaching and consultation. And those are very two different practices, and we're not going to get them confused. But for the coaching part, it's just like, hey, I need a little help with the situation. I'm kind of trying to figure some stuff out. Let's get some strategy, move through, talk about some of this stuff. And that is very goal oriented. And so the men will come to kind of work some of that stuff out. And so many of them, they they want to have a new life. They want to be able to move past the depth of the pain and what they're sitting in. They don't want that to rule their life forever. And that takes some strategy and some understanding that it's going to take time. Now, for some people start early, and if they're also doing the work while they're starting early, it's possible. I've seen it work out, but those people are usually really mentally healthy going in, meaning they're resourced, they're open and honest about what they feel, how their situation is affecting them. They're not stuffing things down. They're active. They're working out. They have friends. They have hobbies. Like this is what I'm talking about. That those people are more often able to have support of their friends and family for starting new. Okay, that's also very big. But when the men are coming to me, they're usually coming long after they've tried to take care of everybody else in their family. And that doesn't say that's the right way to do it. I'm just saying this is what's happening. Okay. So the earlier you can get help and support, the better it's going to be for you. But this is what I see. So they're coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, let's get a little help. And it's usually about a woman. Now, either they've been widowed or they're dating a widow person. But this theme of provision, caring for, cherishing is always at the top of the list for these good men. This guy with you, Joy, sounded like a good man. And this good man also saw the wrong in pushing and pulling with you. And it took him some time to realize that he's not out of the woods by far. And at first he thought he was, because I mean, how could something that feels that good, that good possibly be wrong? And it can blind you like you wouldn't believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. Widowed people, put it in the comments below. You let me know. You can get so blinded by love when you've just come out of this loss because it's so intense. And how could it possibly be wrong? And that thinking, how could this possibly be wrong? It feels so good, is what can get them in trouble in making decisions that maybe aren't good for everybody. Because if you've been in the desert and somebody hands you a glass of water, you're like, you know, get you some food, stuff your face, and then you're sick. And we're going to do that with love too. It's human. This is compassion for all of you. I get it. Been there. Hello. And he did the right thing by stepping back from you. But I also hear you saying, like, well, what am I going to do? Don't I wait around? Joy, you can't wait around for this man. You can live your life, though. You can live your life. And I hear you when he's like, but when we're at church and he's looking at me and he's like trapped in this little bubble of grief over there staring at me like a little bird in a cage, just wishing he could get out and go flying. He's stuck in the cage forever. I just have to accept it. The cage is his own. And here's the thing, that belongs to him. The cage that he puts himself in, or the retreat that he feels he needs to be in, or that he maybe needs to take. Okay, this isn't for me to judge. I don't know the guy. But we're imagining possibilities here. You take what is meaningful for you. And all of you in similar situations, you do the same.
Hold on, quick pause. People ask me all the time if I work with clients one-on-one. Yes, I do. I offer private coaching and consultation, and you can book with me anytime using the link in the description below. Now, back to the video.
Joy, what I would suggest you consider doing when you find yourself in a situation like this, you've got to ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Because you're here for a reason. And in this channel, I talk about spirituality because it's such an important part of grief, in my opinion. Because if we're spiritual beings first, if we're spiritual beings having human experiences, and you're an energetic being of love and light, and you're living in this body, you're having this human experience, and we're here to have the highs, the joys, the pains, the suffering. We're here to have these polarities so we can learn. Because if we're sitting in the other dimension, having peace and love and being one with everything, then it's kind of hard to grow because there's no friction. So maybe we come here to school, Earth School, to learn, to grow, to expand our capacity as spiritual beings through the polarity, through the friction, through the choice that we have, because we're blinded to our sense of oneness that is our eternal essence, but we're blinded to it, veiled from it, if you will. And so, if in this veil we experience the suffering, we experience the joy, we experience the choices, then it's all here for our growth and development. How about that? And if this is true, then Joy, what's this moment trying to teach you? Where does this hurt the most for you? Okay. So let's look beyond the he doesn't want me anymore and that hurts. You said you have a history, of betrayal. And you finally decided to trust this guy because it was so good. And he was good. He did love you. You did have these transcendent moments together. Those were real. Everything you described, they were real. And we imagine if we're going to have it, it's going to last forever. But what's a moment? What's a moment? What's time? Maybe time's an illusion. Maybe the time is really the moment that we have. Because let's imagine you marry him, okay? And he dies next year. Did it make what you had in this year any less real? Any less impactful? Because then you have to say goodbye to it. Nothing in this world is permanent except love. That lasts. Maybe not in terms of relationship because people die, people leave us, people get sick, people lose their minds, people move away, they become incapacitated, houses burn down, our bodies change. We can't hold on to anything in this life, not a damn thing. And so ask yourself, what is it that I'm clinging to? What am I clinging to? That's a question we can all ask ourselves whenever we're experiencing a great amount of pain. There's an Eastern wisdom that says something to the effect of whatever we are most attached to could potentially bring us pain. So that which we can't accept brings suffering. Now, I'm not saying you got to like any of this. These are two different things. Liking and accepting the reality of something are two different things. The reality is this is as it is. And accept that this is as it is. And then honoring yourself as, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And you get to have that as well. Right? But where does this pain take you? Now, this is the open door for possibility in one's life is if this hurts a lot, then there's something that's requiring my attention. So what if you were to take this time and focused on what you need that isn't about getting the need met in another person? That may be getting your own therapy, reading books, watching good podcasts. Thanks for being here. more diving more deeply into your spirituality, go deep within, consult with spiritual teachers that you respect, spiritual authors that you respect. There's lots of ways and doorways into healing. Because what if this man and this experience was here for a period of time, but not forever? Yeah, it's possible that he could come back around when he realizes he doesn't want to hurt anymore and he doesn't want to be alone anymore. But here's the other thing. He may have loved you with such abandon and dove so headfirst into the joy of being with you. The way jumping over the river he needed to cross on foot makes him feel now may, potentially create a situation where he feels like if he does move forward, he needs to do it in a completely new and fresh way with something that's not associated with his past, his wife, because there's too many blurring of lines between you and her and the life that he had. I don't know that this is true. This is just conjecture based on human experiences. But while you're trying to figure it out, while all you out here trying to figure out your widowed person and you widowed people trying to figure yourself out, like, what am I doing? I don't know. Oh my God. And maybe this helps to look more deeply into the why. And sometimes the why is just like brings you to another dead end. Maybe it's not the why that's important, but it's where you're going that matters. The choice that you make next that matters. And this man in your situation, Dre, he's trying not to hurt you anymore. And until he's very clear with himself about who he is and what he's able and capable of, then he feels strong enough to do it. Because he's when in the throes of love, of course, who doesn't feel powerful when you're in love? Like when you're angry and you're like jumping in the river to save somebody's life, or you're just deeply in that passion. You think you feel invincible, but it doesn't last. So he realized that it's not going to last. And then he did the right thing by stepping back from you. And it hurt him too to have to do that. So what we don't know is if he's ever coming back around, and we don't know what you're going to do with you. If you're going to go and take care of yourself, you can't wait. But it's also not about like, well, if I'm not waiting, am I going to try to find somebody else? No, not waiting looks like focusing on yourself. Go deep into why this man not being able to be with you destroys you so deeply. That would be the work I recommend you look at doing because this is the open door for your growth, development, and expansion. Whatever growth and development you do there, that you get to take with you when you die someday. Because this comes with strength, understanding, learning how to love, because this is loving yourself. You're looking for love, theoretically, not knowing you, externally to yourself. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't want it. Well, does that mean I don't, have to want to be loved by something? Absolutely not. No, we all want to be loved. We all want to be cherished and cared for. But needing it to the point of I can't, I'm in deep misery and suffering because I don't have it is different. Okay, and I get it. I've been there way more times and way more deeply than I care to admit. And perhaps you have too. So do you want to keep coming back here to this place over and over and over again? And for those of you, widowed folks out there that find yourself in this dynamic where you're pulling back from them, you also need to get to the point where you understand who and what you are, that you all feel that you have a right to live this life again, that you have a right to be here because you're still alive. You didn't die with your spouse. And, we all have different notions of what it's going to be like when we cross over. But if you listen to near-death studies and all the other, like, there's just love on the other side. There's lots of love. There's lots of love. And these limitations that we put on understanding of relationship and what it means, like it may be very, very, very different than what we imagine. Just saying. And maybe love's the only thing that matters. And it's not a matter of, me with you and you with me. That's a human construct because we need that here. I mean, come on, right? You can't drive two cars at once. Okay, we're not going to get any arguments about sexuality and all the things. I'm just talking about monogamy of life and what people want to do. So, what y'all going to do with yourselves? It all comes down to understanding your right to love yourself. That's got to start there. And some people don't even know what that means. It means you treat yourself with the same love, kindness, and respect that you treat someone else, that you don't depend on someone else to always fill your cup and to make you feel worthy, you know? And what if, there's a pathway back to each other in this circumstance, but there's something that's being asked of you right now in the concept of soul's development. What if, God, the universe, your higher self, whatever's coming to you and saying, hey, honey, we need to do a little work here. And this has created an opportunity for us to do that. And now you go and become more of a whole. You become more whole. You become more healed. You go work on yourself. So you become the person that would love to have love, validation, and be cherished, but not one that needs it in order to be happy. And for him, or all you widowed folks, to know that you have a right to love again and you have a responsibility to clear your plate. Okay. And it doesn't mean leave the person that died behind. It means that you recognize that that part of your story has come to a close. And now it informs everything else that you may do and choose because you learned so much with them. You created an identity with them, and that identity that you create now informs this new one that you're building and growing from the ground up. But it doesn't get forgotten. The bones are still there, but you're redecorating this house. You're redesigning a lot of it. You're having to refurbish the whole place because everything except the bones of this house burnt down, but we need to rebuild it. And while you figure out how to do that, once you get to a place where you feel like I've got enough shelter for two in this house that I'm rebuilding, then you could reach back out. And what that looks like is I'm clear with my friends and family about my right to live and love again. I have made space in my life for another person structurally, which means you have to throw out all the photos of your loved one, but it means that you have space for them. The bathroom's clear. There's a space for the toothbrush of your lover. Your wife or husband's picture isn't staring at you in the bedroom. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to take out all the photos. You may have a family photo on the wall. Like this is okay. But you have to obviously have space for someone else so they feel welcome. And a lot of you pulling back know that you haven't done that. And that you were just swimming in all the good stuff without creating the foundation you know you needed to. And this is forgivable from my perspective, okay? Because you didn't know what you were getting into. You'd never been widowed before. And even if you had been widowed before, everyone's different. Every loss is different. Every relationship's different. And then you're moving into this next phase with a false confidence. I mean, it's real in the moment. It's just not sustainable, right? It's like, you're scared, you're out of shape. Somebody jumps at you and you run and you escape, you barely escape with your life. And then what? Oh my gosh, I'm sore for a week and can't walk because I'm out of shape and was not prepared to take that run. This is what's happening when you're jumping into love too soon. Okay, so let's work on forgiving each other and also finding opportunity that this pain has caused you for growth. Follow that lead, and maybe that takes you where you need to go. Because whether you're widowed or whether you're loving a widow, you are here for something greater than these things we imagine are what's going to make us or break us. This is, you're here on an independent journey, and our paths overlap with others, and we come in and out of each other's lives, and we enrich and we teach, and sometimes our best teachers are pain. So you turn this pain into something that can nourish you. You do that with wisdom. Take those years of your life, you put them to use. Take your power back that you're giving to the other person. And for you widowed folks as well, how much of your life power you're giving to people external to you, to the situations in life. I'll never get through this estate. Oh my gosh, I'll never get to all these kids. I just, maybe life's calling. If you, these are your pain points and you feel out of control, maybe this pain point is pointing you in the direction of we need to find our control. We need to find our point of sovereignty in these situations. We need to find our right to still be here and speak up for ourselves and to find the balance. And it's not easy. It's hard. It's very, very hard. And it's understandable that you want to run from it, from all the responsibility, all the things. And here's the thing, if you're early in your loss, okay, and I'm early, like I'm talking like under a year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years. 3 years seems to be getting a little easier for people. It all depends. There's no time limit on grief. Grief's something people carry for the rest of their lives. How we manage it, I see starts to make some big shifts in the third year. Okay, how it's being managed. Because now you've got enough evidence behind you that supports the fact that maybe you can make it. Because in the beginning, you have no evidence that you're ever going to survive this. You have none. And, if you have a great love affair with somebody, maybe that gives you some evidence, and then you feel like you fail at that. And then that's not evidence. I failed at that. So you're back to square one. You're not. You can't go backwards. This is evidence that you can love again. This is evidence of possibility and hope. But it's also evidence that you need to do some more work. So the further you get out, the more data you have behind you that provides you with evidence of hope and possibility. Now you've got something a little more to offer someone else. Okay. Now, some people do that more quickly. Okay. So this is 3 years, isn't, some formula. It's just a norm I've personally seen, in my opinion, in my practice. Okay. That's it. And that's when I'm helping people on a regular and consistent basis. So they're getting help. Yeah. See people that aren't getting help that are many years out, you know, 10, 15 years out. So you're different. Okay, you got to honor yourself, and don't listen to someone else telling you how to do it. Just don't hurt people in the process as best. Once you realize you're hurting somebody, you do have a responsibility to step back until you have your ducks in a row. But then don't just step back and cry and sit in a little cage and imagine it'll never be better, because that's crap. I said it. I said what I said. That's crap. You're not stuck there unless you choose to stay. And stuck just doesn't mean on a date again. Maybe you date and then you decide, you know what, it's just really not for me. But if you choose it's not for me, don't choose because you think, you know, that you can't handle it or something. Do it because it's just what's right for you. Because there's always possibility as long as you're here for all of you. So make your path. Take the meaning of these painful experiences. Allow them to transform you and to become your teacher. because that's really what we're all here for, in my opinion, is to learn those things, to learn how to manage being human and to surpass the frailties of our experiences and find the strength within ourselves, deeply within ourselves, to transform. Allow it to help you grow, all of you. And then maybe that brings you back to love with each other, maybe with someone new, but honor the experiences, what you've had. And even if they don't last, know that they wouldn't have lasted anyway, because someone's going to die. Someone's going to get sick. Something very human is going to happen. And we won't get to keep it. No, that's not to cause despair. That's to cause discernment and to help you make a choice in the moment. Cherish the moment that you have, which is you're living here now. So allow it to inform you. And then maybe it brings us back to human love. And in the long run, whether you have it for 6 months or 50 years, you do get to take the love with you. Even if it seemingly ends here, it doesn't. The love doesn't. The connection doesn't. And when he looks at you from across the hall in church, it's because he still has conceivably love for you. But he's got to learn to love himself before he can give you any love. And I think on some deep level, he likely knows that based on what you've shared. So let him. Now you go take care of you, Joy. And all of you enjoy shoes. And know that you're going to be okay. Get some care and support and start learning how to heal some of these wounds. And then maybe you create more love in your own life than you ever knew possible, but it comes from within. And him too. You were important on each other's journey. Where it goes from here, we don't know. But this moment right here, right now, how you feel, what's happening, what's in front of you, that's the most important thing. Not an imagined future. Stay focused here in this moment now, and that will take you exactly where you need to go. Meet it with love. All of you. Bye.